Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name is Jessica Johnson, and if we haven't met yet, I mentor people in how to become freelance writers with the freedom to work from anywhere as their own boss. And I do this after building my own content agency, and prior to that, working in corporate America, mentoring teams of writers for international companies. So I'm super passionate about this topic. I'm so excited to potentially give you this path with so much freedom to be your own boss, to work from anywhere, to create your own schedule, and to really have untapped limits when it comes to your own financial independence and ability to earn for yourself as a business or a side hustle or another income stream. All right, so now that that's all out of the way, let's talk about this question that I hear a lot. Maybe you have it too, but that is, what do you do as a freelance copywriter, content writer? What does a day look like? So I'm going to try and break it down for you. The beautiful thing about being a freelance content writer, and it's a little bit of a caveat, is the days can look different depending on what kind of writing you do, what kind of industry you're in, what stage of business you're in, whether you are doing it all yourself or whether you've built a team. So with all that in mind, let me just share what it may look like, especially if you're at the beginning stage. So what a copywriter or content writer does is they write content for brands, businesses, corporations, and that content usually comes in the form of something that you'd read online. So for example, a blog, right? Where if you ever look up an article like how to paddleboard or 5 tips for saving for retirement in your 20s, those blogs are online articles that content writers like you and I can write for these brands and businesses. Brands like those types of content because it helps bring readers to their website, and those readers can then go and potentially become customers. All right, so you could write a blog, which is an article that maybe has 5 to 10 paragraphs in it, and it could give tips or tricks or best practices or things to avoid, something of that nature. You could also help brands as a writer with their social media. So we all know that there's so much social media these days to keep up with, right? And think about a brand that has to put that out every single day. So they hire writers who can help them write posts for Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever the next new platform may be. Writers would really go and help create that content. And think about when you scroll social media, it can span, the post can be short little snippets, they can be quotes, they can be a tip or a trick, they can introduce people to a company's founders, things like that. So they can be all different lengths, all different kinds of social media posts, but a content writer could help a brand with that kind of content as well. Another thing that a content writer could help a brand with would be emails. So if you go through your email inbox and you look at the brands that are sending these emails to you, there's emails about sales that are happening. There's emails about like a newsletter format. Maybe a company sharing an update from one of their executives. Maybe a company is sharing a new product or service. So a writer would help a brand go and write that content. And brands usually will direct the writer in terms of, this is the type of content we need, here's what we're thinking for a title. And some brands will even give an outline in terms of what they want to be included or not. So they make it fairly simple and straightforward for writers to then go and be able to write that content, to research it if needed. And I can teach you all that if you're interested. I'll share something below the video where you can find more information about that in my programs, where I do mentor writers in that and research side. But it can be anything like that, right? Where maybe you're helping with the emails that brands send out. Sometimes brands will have things on their website that's like a guide or free, like it's called a lead magnet or opt-in, but basically you've probably done this where you've given your email in exchange for some kind of guide or freebie from a website. And so content writers will help brands put together those guides. Another thing that a content writer or copywriter could help with would be like web copy or a sales page. So every single website that you read online was written by someone. Every single sales page for anything you've ever signed up for was written by someone. And that's a copywriter or content marketer. And so a brand would say, we have this idea for an about page. We want to describe our leadership team. Could you help? Here's all their bios. Could you help make them sound professional and polished and consistent in the order that they're in? Something like that, right? And then you could go and format the about page with them. As it's written. If you are trying to sell some new membership program, a brand might share with you what it's about, the benefit to customers, what the cost will be, and then you would go and help this brand put it together in something that just sounds so clean and polished. Now, this might seem hard as a writer to do, but what a truth that I've learned is it's actually hardest to write about your own self or as a brand to write about itself. So a writer can actually be such a beneficial asset to brands because you're able to look and see what they're not seeing. And you're able to, as they give you information about what they want written or their customers, you're able to go and say, okay, but I still have this question. Or when I hear them say this part's unclear to me. And so really you can be such an asset to a brand and almost just put yourself in the customer's shoes of what's missing or what's not being said. And that can really help you write these pieces too, and be really educated when it comes to brands and helping them figure out what they're even missing from, what they're describing to you. Another thing that you can do as a writer, and this gets to be a little bit higher level, but you could also help brands with their strategy. So a brand may come to you and say, we have ideas for 3 blog posts. This is what our audience is interested in, or this is what they're searching online. Do you have any other ideas? And you could put yourself in the customer's shoes and say, okay, if I was, let's say, learning to make this recipe, I'd also have questions about the ingredients. I'd also have questions about why use this kind of flour versus this kind. I'd also have questions about if I can make this a cake, what's a good pie recipe, right? Like I'm just giving you examples off the top of my head, but as a strategist, you can help a brand formulate their content strategy, and you can also help them see where the gaps are. So if they have a lot of the content we described, like blog posts or emails, but they don't have social media yet, you could say to them, this could be a huge opportunity that I don't think we were taking advantage of yet. I'd love to take this off your plate and turn those emails into a social media post. Right? So as a strategist, you can really help a brand to determine what the gaps are in their own content and give them ideas on how to improve it. And through that, you can both build for that strategy, and then you can also provide your own business with work to go and help them actually implement and execute on it. So that's kind of a big chunk, is like this writing side, right? Where you're writing blogs, you're writing social media, ebooks, guides, sales pages, web copy, and you can write a little bit of all of that, or you can choose one specialty and write just blogs, right? Or just social media, whatever your interest is in. And that's kind of a big chunk of your day is getting those assignments from brands that you've partnered with and just writing and going heads down, and wherever you are in the world, whatever time of day it is, you just allocate those few hours to get that work done and send it over to your client. And the other part, if you are newer to a business, is getting clients. So you don't have to do this a ton once your business is up and running, because so often with writing clients, which is another reason why I love this as a business, the work is ongoing. So once you get a first few clients, they're probably going to have social media every single month. They're probably going to have emails they need every single month. They're probably going to have blog posts that they need over and over again every single month. So you get that first client relationship, and then you can start to count on that work coming in every month, and it builds this snowball for you of work. But in the beginning, you will need a few of those client relationships. And so that's what you'll spend your time doing in the beginning. And there's a million ways you can get clients. You can reply to inquiries on freelance sites where a company is saying, hey, we're looking for this kind of writer, submit your pitch if you're interested. You can go to a networking event and tell people you're a content writer, and then they'll probably have work that say, hey, that's great, my company has a ton of work, let me connect you. You can pitch local brands or brands that you dream of working with yourself and write a free sample for them. There's so many ways to get clients, and I talk more in depth about all of these these in my online program, Content Business Blueprint, where I also give you templates for pitching and week by week show you exactly what to do, how to personalize it, anything you need to know. So I'll share more about that below the video. But just suffice it to say, there's a million ways to get clients. And what you really want to do in the beginning is work on getting your first few. You don't need 50 different clients if you have a few clients with maybe 10 hours each of work per week, right? Because 10 times 4 is 40 hours. That's a 40-hour work week. You're booked. So if you can just get those first few clients, you can really build your business. And the great part then is you don't need to continue marketing, right? So once you have those first few clients, the majority of your day will just be spent fulfilling their work. And maybe you'll hop on a meeting here and there with them. Maybe you'll do a call. Maybe you won't do much of that at all, but you don't have to be out there pitching yourself once you get your first clients underway, because you'll be booked, and you can just execute then on the writing and creative projects that you've set out to do with them. So for me, I just think it's such a fun field. It's such a fun business. You can be creative. You can work in industries that you love, on projects that you love, on the type of things that you want to tell your friends about anyway, right? So imagine how you talk about your favorite coffee to friends, or your favorite local shop or workout class. Imagine being able to just put that into writing form and say, this is amazing, and here's 3 reasons why, and see how simply you could just share all that. So that's kind of why I think it's such a fun and fulfilling career. And then the other beautiful part is, because you can work from anywhere that you have a laptop and Wi-Fi, you could go and spend the other half of your afternoon or half of your day going and traveling, right? Or taking care of errands, or doing that yoga class, or playing with your babies, like your kids, So you have so much flexibility in your day once you get your work done to what you can go do. And I know many clients and many students of mine who they'll go and they'll work early morning so that they can structure their day to have more flexibility with their family. Or they'll work in the evenings once everyone's gone to bed. So it doesn't have to be a traditional 9 to 5 either. It can really be like however you want to structure it. And that's the beauty of being your own boss with a content writing business. So I hope that clears it up for you. Like, what does a content writer do? What is the day in the life like? If you have other questions, drop them in the comments. I always love to hear from you, and just make videos that really serve you as much as possible. So I hope this one does. If there's anything else that's unclear, or anything else you want to know about this industry or business, go ahead and drop it in the comments. I can make another video on it for you, or answer directly. And then make sure you check out the free Copywriter starter kit below the video to learn more if you're curious, and would love to support you in building this business as well.